What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Mekhi back in the building. You feel me? Now, today we have a recommended video. It is from Jimmy High Roller, and it is called "The Harsh Truth About the GOAT Debate." This is what we're going to be reacting to today. We're going to talk about the GOAT debate a little bit. In my opinion, I think that the GOAT debate, the criteria changes from person to person. So it really depends on who you're talking to about the GOAT debate. I think the greatest player of all time is Michael Jordan, but we're going to see what Jimmy Harrow is talking about. If you guys enjoy what I'm doing, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Recommend some videos that you guys want me to see in the future. And without further ado, let's get to it, man.
To get the fresh 14 for the Lakers.
Hey!
Look out below! Oh my Lord!
It's never going to end, is it? LeBron's reign over the NBA. I've just come to the conclusion that LeBron has hacked into the Matrix and has transcended aging. LeBron is in his 19th NBA season and is somehow still one of the best players on the planet.
Hey, this video was made a couple years ago. I think he's in his 23rd season now, so.
This isn't supposed to happen. 99% of NBA players peak in their mid to late 20s and then slowly regress as they age, eventually becoming a liability to their team and inevitably sailing off into the sunset, washed up and content with their achievements.
One thing that's the nastiest part about that is that Father Time tells them to go, or some type of injury tells them to go. I like certain players where they just walk away. Like, it's kind of sad, but like Michael Jordan, for an example, he walked away in 93, which that was kind of crazy. I ain't gonna lie. You walked away in the middle of your prime. But in 98, like, he was older, but he could still play. He could still play. He could still play on the Wizards. But if he walked away in 98, it just, from now, me never seeing Jordan back then, watching that just looked beautiful. Because we knew that that was like the end. You know what I'm saying? At the time, you know, it's different. It's different.
But not LeBron. The man is fighting his age like he's got a grudge on time itself. And the more he piles up on these mind-bending feats, the more we must ask ourselves the question. And I really hate to do this, but is LeBron the greatest basketball player of all time? And if he is,
no, sir.
What would he need to do to truly, once and for all, be the GOAT?
I'm going to tell you this right now. That whole longevity thing, man, let me tell you something, man. He could play for 1 billion years. He's not going to be the GOAT. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. Y'all are forcing it.
About 5 years ago, I uploaded my first basketball-related video onto this channel. The title of that video is LeBron the GOAT. You can still watch this video today, but since it's an absolute dog water of a production, I highly recommend you steer clear of it. To summarize the video, I gave 10 reasons why LeBron would retire as the GOAT. Fast forward 5 years and thousands of hours of watching games, collecting data, and gathering context in this sport that we love. I've since changed my ways and realized that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. But my original assessment from 5 years ago hasn't completely changed, because I never said LeBron was the GOAT at the time. I just gave 10 reasons why LeBron would retire as the GOAT. But ever since I dropped that video, I've pretty much avoided the GOAT conversation altogether. I've put a spin on the idea of the greatest players in certain aspects of the game. I've talked about the greatest scorers, I've ranked players using purely numbers, but I've never really broken down who the greatest player is, in my opinion, because I just feel like the topic is a bit redundant. And ESPN already gives you a daily update on the GOAT debate anyways, so no need for me to do it. But I think it's time we actually discuss this, because what LeBron is doing at this point in his career is just absurd. At the moment, there are pretty much 3 different camps on the whole GOAT debate. People who think Michael Jordan is the GOAT, people who think LeBron is the GOAT, and people who are wrong. I'm just joking, of course. But not really. I'd say about 75% of people fall into the MJ's the GOAT category, about 20% of people fall into the LeBron's the GOAT category, and about 5% fall into the other category. Usually these other fans believe the GOAT is Wilt or Kobe or Kareem. There's not many of them, but boy, will they die on that hill. See, the thing here is that a lot of the fans in MJ's corner believe that he is and will forever be the GOAT. But realistically, is there anything LeBron can do to surpass him? I mean,
no, I don't see it. It's too late in his career. The brother is gonna finish his career with 4 NBA championships. He's gonna be number one on the all-time leading scorers. Like, he's gonna finish with all these stats, 27, 7-7, whatever you want to do, right? But he's not the GOAT in my eyes. I'm sorry. When you go and look, when I've never seen a player like Michael Jordan, like I've never seen it. I've never seen a player like Michael Jordan.
There's gotta be some sort of objective metric we can use to distinguish the greatest player of all time. No opinions, no bias, just the facts. If LeBron somehow won 4 more championships and retired with 8 rings, he'd undoubtedly be the GOAT, right? So there are paths for him to become the greatest ever. But where does that threshold lie, and what would LeBron have to achieve to get there? First, let's just take a look at the basic numbers. Between Michael and LeBron, LeBron has more career points, rebounds, assists, blocks, more triple doubles, higher field goal percentage, and a higher 3-point percentage. And
now, okay, before he gets into it, let's look at this at face value. When you put that together, that makes it sound like, oh, LeBron James is clearly the GOAT. But you got to understand that LeBron James has played more games. He's played more minutes, I believe. He's actually number 1 all time in missed field goals. Missed shots all time. It's LeBron and then it's Kobe number 2, right? It's just, I don't like using totals because one player has played longer than the other. Michael Jordan, 15 seasons. LeBron James, he's playing 23, and so on and so forth. I like to go to peaks. How are you at your very, very best? Because at your very best, that's the highest that you're going to go to. Michael Jordan averaged 30, what was it, 37 in a season? Or was it 35 in a season? He averaged almost 40 in an entire season. That's the peak. He averaged over 30 points a game, got MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, scoring title. Like, that, I can bring that up with LeBron's best year. And you can pick a couple different years with LeBron James. But I'm just saying, like, we can't use totals because it's not fair. It's really not fair at all because one player has played longer than the other. So it's going to be obvious that LeBron James, because he played longer, that doesn't mean anything.
Michael has more steals and a higher free throw percentage. But this whole argument, the career totals argument, is only useful in demonstrating LeBron's longevity and sustained excellence. These numbers don't prove that LeBron's a better scorer, or rebounder, or defender, or shooter than Jordan. They just prove that LeBron's been good at these things for a very, very long time. These numbers also show just how versatile LeBron is, possibly his most valuable asset. So instead of looking at career totals, let's look at career averages. Michael averages more points and more steals, and LeBron averages more assists and more rebounds. And as much as it pains me to say this, this is usually where the argument for the GOAT ends for most people. Throw in a required comment about their finals records and you pretty much have a condensed version of most GOAT debates.
Yeah.
But there is so much more to unpack here. So let's unpack it.
Now, when people get into advanced stats, people don't really listen to it because they're advanced stats. But I want to see what y'all guys think about the advanced stats. Let's go ahead and look into it.
So y'all know how much I like advanced stats. They don't tell the full story, but if you know which ones to look for, you can discover some nuances in a player's game that you won't get by just watching them play. Player efficiency rating, win shares per 48, offensive box plus minus, defensive box plus minus, value over replacement, and true shooting percentage.
And I'm not going to lie to you, a lot of people don't like using this because number one, they either may not understand what they're talking about, or number two, it's pretty recent. Like, they just found out about this type of stat. So a lot of people have shied away from these stats. But let's go ahead and let him explain it.
These 6 advanced stats give us efficiency, production, value, impact, and pretty much everything in between. And in these 6 advanced statistics, Michael Jordan exceeds LeBron in 5 of them. He's more efficient overall. He contributes to more wins. He contributes to more points. He's better on defense, and he is generally more valuable on the court than LeBron is. The only advanced stat where LeBron tops Jordan is true shooting percentage. Now, in terms of who's a better basketball player, nearly every metric points to Michael Jordan. But really take a look at these numbers, and it's actually uncanny just how close LeBron is to MJ across the board. Just a fraction behind Jordan in pretty much everything. But these numbers aren't even addressing who's greater, because that conversation would involve accolades and accomplishments and impact on the game. Take away the ring.
Like I said, there's a difference between better and greater. Here we go.
The influence, the intangibles, the opinions, and it's virtually objectively true that Michael was a better basketball player than LeBron. But the GOAT debate isn't necessarily about who is the better player. It's about who is the greatest player. We've got some more unpacking to do. Now, we cannot have a thorough GOAT debate without discussing the accomplishments of each player. Numbers are cool and they have their purpose, but numbers alone aren't indicative of greatness. They're just a vehicle to greatness. This is why, despite James Harden spending half a decade piling up some of the greatest scoring numbers in NBA history, most people don't consider him greater than some players with far lesser offensive numbers. The numbers complement the accolades, not the other way around. This is also why I consider Wilt Chamberlain to have been a better basketball player than Bill Russell, but Bill Russell was greater than Wilt. Wilt achieved his greatness through his numbers, whereas Russell achieved his greatness by contributing to an unrelenting style of winning basketball. So let's take a look at the accomplishments of both Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Now, there are plenty of other awards a player can earn in the NBA, but these are the ones that really stand out on a player's resume. Championships, Finals MVPs, regular season MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year, All NBA selections, and All Defensive Team selections. And amongst these 6 categories, Jordan beats LeBron in 5 of them. And Michael accomplished all of this in just 15 seasons to LeBron's full 18 seasons.
And the thing about it is, Michael Jordan only played 13 with the Bulls, right? He only played 13 with the Bulls. And when you take away the year that he was coming back from playing baseball, and the second year when he broke his foot, he only played 11 full seasons with the Bulls. And he completed most of all this stuff in 11 seasons. Now, the championships, finals MVPs, of course, that was in the 90s, right? But all defense, that was some of it was in the 80s. Defensive Player of the Year award, that was in the 80s. MVP, some of it was in the 80s. So he did it in less time. That's what I have over LeBron James. He did it in less time.
Only category where LeBron outperformed Michael is in all NBA selections. And most will argue that, again, this is an accomplishment of longevity more than anything else, which, at this point, seems to be the overall theme in the GOAT debate. Up to this point in his career, the majority of fans will agree that LeBron has been a step below Jordan in terms of greatness. So now the race to become the GOAT has become a marathon, because eventually the sheer volume of LeBron's career numbers and achievements may become so overwhelming that we'll have no choice but to concede that he is in fact the greatest player of all time, which brings us to a real dilemma in this age-old debate. The flame that burns twice as bright burns half as long. A great quote by the ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu regarding the idea of excellence and the sustainability of it. Almost as if you can have longevity or be exceptional, but you can't have both. Now, in the world of basketball and sports in general, usually being exceptional translates to longevity and vice versa. Michael Jordan was excellent for 13 seasons in the NBA. His flame was violently bright and had burned for quite some time. But what if there was a flame that burned about 95% as bright and lasted much, much longer? At a certain point, the radiance of even the brightest flame is outclassed by the flame that just won't quit. Of course, LeBron isn't a flame. He's a 6'9", 250-pound freak of nature in basketball shoes, but his light shines about 95% as bright as Michael Jordan's did, and it's lasting a whole lot longer. when does the longevity of LeBron's brilliance simply outmatch the slightly greater but much shorter brilliance of Michael? Because as we've discussed, Mike trumps LeBron in pretty much every single metric other than longevity and overall production. So the real question here is, how much longer will LeBron have to be excellent before the majority agrees that he is greater than Michael was? The man is in his 19th NBA season, and he's leading the NBA in scoring. He's still a top 5 player in the league, and his bag is getting deeper and deeper with every season. Here's a chart of LeBron's total points, assists, and rebound averages throughout each season of his career. Each point on the graph represents the total average of points, assists, and rebounds for every season of his career. So, for example, this season LeBron is putting up 8, 6, and 30 a game, so his total for the season is 44. Now, in the NBA, anything above a total of 40 is exceptional. LeBron's total production has exceeded 40 in 17 different seasons. Now here's Michael's total average points, assists, and rebounds for every season of his career. This is by far the greatest argument in favor of LeBron in the GOAT debate.
That's crazy. Michael Jordan is a man.
And has simply sustained excellence for longer than Mike did. And although the numbers are just a vehicle to greatness, there has got to be a point where the numbers are just too glaring to ignore. LeBron's numbers are getting to that point. But some fans will argue that there were other players that were still really good this late in their career. You mean like Kareem, or Kobe, or Karl Malone?
Kareem is crazy. Like, Kareem was all up here and went way down. Kobe's not that far off. He was, his numbers was a little bit higher than Jordan's, but not at LeBron, Karl Malone.
They weren't even close. LeBron's already the only player to be a part of the 30K, 10K, 10K club. Aside from a freak injury, he'll undoubtedly break Kareem's scoring record. He'll probably play the most seasons in an NBA career. He already has the record for most All-NBA selections, and he's still adding to what is probably the longest career highlight reel with moments like this. If LeBron is still doing this in a couple years, while still putting up All-NBA numbers, I really think it's going to be difficult to say that he's not the greatest player ever. You know what? I'm just gonna say it. While LeBron's legacy is growing as he plays more seasons, Michael's legacy would have been slightly diminished if he played more seasons. Of course, this isn't a matter of fact, but all the evidence points towards this assumption. Michael Jordan retiring after playing just 13 NBA seasons in 1998 was the best thing he could have ever done for his legacy. The Bulls were not going to win another championship, and the backbone of the dynasty he had built had all but vanished by the beginning of the 1999 season. If he had played through that 3-year retirement gap from 1999 to 2001, he would have either stayed with the Bulls and put up huge numbers on a losing team, or signed with a different team and chased rings. Both options being far less illustrious than him going out on top with the team that drafted him. Michael's career was the perfect storm. He was drafted by a franchise that was ready and willing to build around him. He was on a roster that suited his skill sets extremely well, and he and the Bulls peaked right as the dominant teams from the 80s and early 90s like the Lakers, Celtics, and Pistons began to fade away. You could not have written a better career if you tried. On the other hand, despite his success, LeBron really got the short end of the deal many times throughout his career. He spent his first 7 seasons in the NBA playing for a team that could not have cared less about building a coherent team around him. He spent 4 straight finals going toe-to-toe with the most dominant dynasty in modern NBA history outside of Jordan's Bulls. While Michael was surrounded by players who were all willing to buy into their system, LeBron has spent many years carrying the load of bad rosters and seemingly incompetent teammates. Part of which...
Okay, before he finishes, my question to him is, if LeBron James knew that the Cavaliers did not care about creating a roster for him to win a championship and he left, why did you come back?
Is his own fault for trying to play GM and putting together piss-poor rosters. And I bring up these small nuances because the GOAT debate is very nuanced. As much as people want to act like the whole 6-0 in the finals is the end-all be-all to the discussion, it's just not. If rings were all that mattered, then Bill Russell would be the GOAT. Oh, but he played a long time ago, that doesn't count. Okay, well then Robert Horry is the GOAT because he has 7 rings to Jordan's 6. Well yeah, but Horry wasn't the best player on any of those championships. Okay, so is the argument about rings, or is it about being the best player on the court, or a mixture of both? Is a player's performance, despite how masterful it was, all in vain if his team loses? The line becomes less and less clear the deeper you dig. No single metric can be used to determine this debate, and the unpacking of every small minute detail is a necessary burden. But unfortunately, it's a burden that most fans won't bother to take on. At the moment, I personally believe Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. I also think he's the best basketball player of all time. But, unlike some fans, I don't think the door has closed on LeBron. I think that if LeBron can continue to dominate the league for a few more seasons and continue to shatter our previous notions of what we thought was possible in a single NBA career, I think that he has a chance to retire as the greatest player of all time. But of course, only time will tell. And fortunately for LeBron, time seems to perpetually be on his side.
I don't think it's going to happen, y'all. I really don't. I honestly think that Michael Jordan is the greatest player, and he's going to stay the greatest player of all time, even when LeBron finishes his career and retires and everything like that. There's nothing that you can tell me. Like, that's the main argument, is longevity. Michael Jordan done as much time as it took LeBron to do what he has done. Michael Jordan has done amazing things, and things that even LeBron James hasn't beat in less time. In less time. Michael Jordan, it's a different dude, man. He's a different cat. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Who you think the GOAT is? I know we have a lot of Larry Bird fans in the comment section, so I want to hear y'all's thoughts too. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And please recommend some videos that you guys want me to see in the future. And until my next video, man, I'm going to catch y'all.